All right, Baylor Multimedia. Learning today how to work with images and text at the same time. We probably haven't done too much text at all intentionally, but we're going to learn how to do some text. This is a gnarly looking wave. Look at that. Somebody lost at the top there, and their wave got lost. Their board got, they hope they made it. Anyways, sorry, I'm back. What we're going to do is we're going to make text that shows this image through it. So to do that, we need to use nice, bold, thick text. I'm going to recommend something for you. First, we're going to find the text tool. The text tool is the T for text. And to use this, we're just going to click somewhere on the screen and start typing. So I'm just put the word surf in here. I'm going to use all caps. And I'm going to make sure I've got a font I can see and a color I can see. It doesn't actually matter just yet. But what I am going to do is I'm going to go choose Arial, and the Arial we're going to use is Arial Black. And Arial Black is just a bigger, bolder Arial font, and it's a sans serif font, which means it doesn't have little embellishments on the edge. So serif font is like Times New Roman, and sans serif is smooth. They're also referred to as Roman, is the serif fonts, and the sans serifs are sometimes called Gothic. So let's just change this to, let's see, black. There's Arial Black. And I want this to be bigger. So to change the text size, I'm going to crank this up to like 160 and hit tab. And I'm going to try again with 180 and hit tab. I want this nice and big. Let's try 220. This is starting to get where I want to go. So I really want this big enough that I can see the surf through it though. So let's keep working with that. If I choose the text tool, then I can change without selecting it. I can then get in there and change this some more. Let's try 300. So really it's getting there pretty soon. You can also open this little, there's a character panel. So if you're here to choose character, then you can actually work with this a little bit more directly. So I can crank this up, and the size ends at 72 in here. So if we try 350, but I can also make this taller by using scale. So this here is my vertical scale, and this is my horizontal scale. So if I crank this up this way, that's what I'm trying to get after. So I got nice big text. I can move it around with the text tool. In order to make those changes, I think I still have to have this. Oh, I can still have that. So I've got it selected with the selection tool now. So I do this, and this just has a basic color on it. So there's a few ways I can make this more intense, including if I put a stroke around the edge. So the next thing I want to add to your knowledge is this button down here, which is the effects. It says FX, it means effects, but in the industry they've always used FX to be the quick version of it. So if we add a layer style, layer styles are things that improve the look. So we're just going to choose stroke on this one, and my goal was to make the letters a little bit bolder, bigger. So I'm going to choose black for my color, and click OK. I'm going to crank up the size like this, and it looks like my opacity is down from last time I did this. I'm going to put the opacity all the way up, and I'm going to use this to, let's put the opacity down. Let's see, that's the whole thing, I guess. So I'm going to use this to position on the outside. So that's too big. So there's a positioning that says, do you want this in the center, the inside, or the outside? We're going to outside because we're trying to add to it. So I want nice, big, bold letters, and that's really what I'm after right now is bold letters. So I did that with adding the, again, this is added from the effects panel here. So I add from there to get the layer style, and I used simply stroke on this one. There's more we could do with that later, but right now let's just keep it simple. And we're going to use this as a mask. So to do this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the magic wand tool. And the magic wand tool, if I click on this, you'll notice it selected almost everything, but it didn't select inside the R. So what I want to click is turn off contiguous. Contiguous means connected, and that part's not connected. So if we click on this and Control D to deselect, and now do it again, now I've got everything selected. Notice it didn't get the stroke, the effect on the edge. So I'm going to show you how to correct that right now, I guess. So if I undo that selection, right-click on this, and we're going to choose on this. Click over here. Notice when I click here, I get one thing. When I click on the side, I get the other. So what I want is rasterize the layer style, and now the whole thing is selectable. So it's now no longer editable text. Once you've done that, the computer just sees as much pixels, and it's no longer editable as text. Now notice this time, my selection goes right to the edge, and no further. So having done that, let me turn off that layer, and with this layer selected down here, let's make a duplicate layer, duplicate copy, and this button right here is my mask. So when I do that, so sometimes this happens. You'll think you've done the thing and then you try it and you can't see the results. Like I turned off the text and the mask does not appear to be working. Here's why. I still have this bottom layer turned on right here. So now I did it and I got the results kind of, but not quite what I was after. So I want to reverse this. So to reverse this, this mask, push Control and I, and now that looks great. So you can add more effects to this if you want to. In fact, I recommend it. So now let's add a stroke to the edge. And now we got the word surf with waves in it. And that looks pretty cool. So you could add another image to this if you want to. Let's go find a picture that will contrast with this. And we're going to use some contrasting work to mix this up. So I'm going to go back into my search and try to find a surfing picture. And I found what I'm searching at. I find YouTube. Sometimes you want to click on this, but usually this will take you right to the YouTube. So with these ones, you can get it with right-clicking and choosing Save Image As, and you'll usually get the right size. So I'm going to call this Surf 2. And now we're going to go to Photoshop. I'm going to File, Place. I'm just going to place Embedded this time. So if I place Surf 2 in there, notice it puts it on top. I'm going to drag that picture to the bottom. And I have to push Enter first to accept the placement. So now I've got this. What I want to do is I'm going to make some effects in here to sort of emphasize the text. So I'm going to take this picture here. I'm going to add a blank layer. And on this layer, I'm going to add, I'm going to click my colors. I'm going to go with gray and white. I guess I'm going to change the color of this just a little bit darker. So use a gray and white on your foreground and background, and then choose Filter, Render, and Clouds. And the clouds are just temporary. We're not going to use this to cover up the whole thing, but it looks kind of coolish. And now we can choose to do another filter. And in this case, we're going to use noise, add noise. You can adjust the size of the noise. If you use less noise, you'll still get some of the texture of the clouds. If you use more, it pretty much kills the texture of the clouds. But either way you want to go, it's fine. So pick something on there. And what I like to also add to this is swirling it. So filter, distort, and twirl. So when I do this, it gets like a tornado in there. So I got this. Now we want to make this sort of transparent. So we're going to choose this up here is layer blend modes. And blend modes affect how this layer interacts visually with the objects behind it or under it in the layer panel. So if I choose this and I say, let's make this multiply, put the texture into it. That's the thing to use. You can darken it. So try one of these layer styles. This should adjust the way it appears. But the goal is to place more emphasis upon the text or the emphasized text. So you can do this. In this case, I faded out the background and made it lighter. Okay, we can screen it. So there's all kinds of things we can do to mix these up. So that's the process. And in this case, it loses it. There's less contrast. So we want visual contrast between the foreground and the background. Okay, so there's our contrast there. And you can try any which one of these that you like. Have some fun with this. And we'll be building upon this to, at the end of our grading period, make an album cover. All right, have fun. I'll check you in a bit. Thanks.